Leaves Illinois as number one, so I'm not trying to steal the podium and take all the time here, but we had four themes generally for this year's state agency reports. We were going to try and talk about successes and failures, how we program and select treatments. There's a couple others, but I'm going to try and touch on a few of them. For our successes, Illinois successfully passed a gas tax effective July 1st, 2019, essentially doubling our gas tax revenue for the state highway fund. So Illinois will also plan to increase our percentage of unrestricted funding spent on pavement preservation as time goes forward, giving us more money to preserve the good roads that we will have. And instead of going with failures, I like to call them opportunities to learn. We had some issues with some of our microsurfacing jobs here in the recent history. We've had some issues with set time and with debonding, and issues with the Portland cement being added in the mixtures. We've taken this and we've kind of dug in and done some research, done some testing and stuff like that, and we're rolling out new special provisions. We are going to work on training our construction staff, all of our district staff, so that way everybody's on the same page, everybody knows what we should be getting, and moving forward. As kind of a breakdown of our network for what we've got programmed for FY20. We had 2% of the pavement preservation projects were going to be chip seals, 23% were going to be cape seals. District 7 just added a bunch of cape seals to the program. 28% were going to be microsurfacing, so even though we have had what some would call some pretty large failures on some pretty important roadways, we're still going to move forward. We're not going to go into a moratorium. And then smart overlays, which in Illinois is a 2-inch inlay or overlay, depending on what the district chooses to do. We've got 5% of them are going to be thin lays, and then 2% in ultra thin bonded. I actually think those are reversed. So, we're getting some experimental features out, and we're going to try some thin lays, and hopefully we've got a new tool to add to our toolbox to hopefully improve and take advantage of some of the cheap HMA prices that we have in District 1. So going forward, like Arlene said, we did have the 3 EDC4 workshops here in Illinois. Initially we held one in Springfield, and then we held 2 additional in Chicago to cover the greater Chicagoland region. I am working with my team and bringing a microsurfacing ISA workshop to Illinois. Hopefully we can target that in the first week of December. This would be a large investment in training our construction and district staff. And then I'm also working with some consultants and others to develop some more IDOT training that will be hosted online. It'll be not only accessible via computer, but through tablet and smartphone as we go more into the e-construction world. It'll be considered just-in-time training, so that way if a resident or a technician has a contract where they've never been on a microsurfacing job before, they can pull it up on their phone and hopefully get some valuable information that will help them in observing and watching this project being built. As part of the adoption of our TAMP and all these new policy updates and our transition in the way that we have normally done business, of course, there has to be documentation and policy to follow. So the Bureau of Research within the department is working on these policy updates of Chapter 52, which is our pavement preservation chapter. It was originally developed back in the early 2000s, and most of you probably recognize it because I think a lot of your stuff came from our stuff. So we're updating it, and hopefully we'll be able to share it with you guys soon. Like I said, we are updating specifications to help cover some of the issues that we've had with some of our projects in the recent history. We're also working with some researchers over in Indianapolis to develop some new lab tests to verify mixed designs and stuff like that after it's been placed in the field. We've got some interesting things that we're trying to get some research on and kind of fast track it, but we are making sure that we double check all of our findings. I'm also interested in looking to see if we can develop some field tests so that way we can ensure that we're getting a good quality product right there while it's being placed. We're looking at calculating percent embedment using macro texture depth with lasers and or smartphone cameras, as well as doing some other stuff with microsurfacing. So hopefully we'll have some more information here in the near future. That way we can help make our pavement preservation program even better. I'd like to open up for any questions if we have any. If not, we'll move on to our next state.
And that is, in looking at your specifications, have you considered looking at the new AASHTO specifications for emulsions, emulsion-based products?
Yes. So I had my team go through and check the AASHTO specifications for chip seals and microsurfacing. We are pretty much fall in line with what AASHTO has got. I think once the construction specs come out, I just got a draft copy from Dennis the other day, but once those come out, I think that'll be where our biggest changes and updates will come from, is the actual construction specifications and guidelines.
You mentioned doing more surface treatments or adding more to the budget. Can you kind of give that quantification as far as like how much you do now and how much you hope to do in the future, or have some sense of that at all?
Right now we're around 7%, I think, of our unrestricted funds for preservation. Now that 7% goes to both bridges and pavement. So depending on the district and what their current needs are, they'll go one way or the other. I think we're still working out all the details on the Rebuild Illinois. So we're not exactly sure on how much that percentage is going to increase or what's going to be happening. I just got $78 million worth of projects from our Chicago region. So for my review, and we're going to send it off to the committee for approval. Illinois' kind of division office has taken a stance as far as we don't have an approved pavement preservation policy right now. So we have a committee of experts that review all the district preservation projects, and we send them out on an annual review. So we just got $78 million worth of projects from District 1, so which is a extremely sizable chunk. It's going to be a while before we get through all those reviews, but I foresee it continuing to grow. We've got a lot of good pavements out there that need preservation. So,
does the department have a strategy to increase the number of contractors that will do work in your state?
As of right now, we do. We are looking at our pre-qualification for contractors in slurry systems and chip seals, and we're looking to increase competition and hopefully bring on more qualified contractors that are able to do the work.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.